Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Karcher and I am presenting Mycorrhizae and Plant Health today for Microbiology Lab with Dr. McGrane. So let's get started. What is mycorrhizae? Mycorrhizae is a symbiotic relationship between a fungus and the roots of a plant. Rhiz actually means root, so it is quite literally a fungus and a root in their connection. There are two main types that affect plant health. There's arbuscular mycorrhiza and then there's ectomycorrhiza. And then here I just have a picture A so that you can see the rhizosphere, which is the area underneath the soil that the plant is able to reach with their fungi attached to their root, and that's where a lot of the microbial action happens. And then this is an up close picture also of the exact same interaction, just so you can see the fungi actually attaching to the roots. So arbuscule mycorrhizae is an obligate biotroph. They live solely off of lipids and photosynthetic plant products. So it is a symbiotic relationship, which means that both the plant and the fungi are benefiting from this relationship. Arbuscule mycorrhizae are also found on 70 to 90% of land plants, which is huge. They are everywhere, but you can't see them. You don't know they're there. Their job is to transport nutrients. They are called arbuscule mycorrhizae because they have little nodules that are called arbuscules, and that is where the nutrients flow from the fungi into the roots. And like I said, it's symbiotic. So in return, up to 20% of the fixed carbon that the plant fixes returns back to the fungi. And there's been a lot of research being done as far as arbuscule mycorrhizae being a biofertilizer, and this is because of a few things. It resists factors such as climate change, drought, fertilizer, salt, etc. It increases the rate of gas exchange and photosynthesis, and it also protects from pathogens. And let me see if I can move this here. So this is just a comparison picture that was actually awesome for this slide. So the left side shows no colonization. It shows some minerals and nutrients here that the plant is not able to uptake, but it also shows here some going through via the root hairs. So plants can obtain nutrients without mycorrhizae, but they're not nearly as efficient and they can't live in near as many environments. And then we look over where the arbuscule mycorrhizae is with the plant, and we see all of these wonderful things: increased drought tolerance, increased salt tolerance, increased resistance to foliar pathogens and also fungal pathogens, and the nutrient transfer. And as you can see, these extensions here, this is the fungi coming off of the plant roots. And you see it gives it a lot more extension and it allows a lot more nutrients to be taken up through the soil. Okay, sorry, I didn't think about this. We're going to move my face around a lot. And now ectomycorrhiza. Ectomycorrhiza evolved with the seed plant age. They are mostly found on conifer and angiosperms. 30% of the microbial biomass in forest soil. And this picture really goes along with that. It's drawn so it's a little kid-like, but I thought it really represented the idea well as far as what a fungal network can really do when it comes to just mass underneath the soil. And you see how everything is connected. And that's why forests, especially boreal forests, are huge, huge, huge components of mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is available all throughout the soil and the nutrients there. So they're very similar to arbuscule mycorrhiza, but they can obtain oxygen or carbon from decomposing organic matter and the plants themselves. So arbuscule mycorrhiza can only obtain that carbon, that 20% we talked about, getting back from the plants. That's the only way that they can obtain that fixed carbon. Whereas ectomycorrhiza has the ability to obtain that carbon from decomposing organic matter, which is great because a lot of time on the forest floors, there's a lot of dead foliage, fallen leaves, ground plants, stuff like that, that when they decompose, ectomycorrhiza can use that carbon from those different organisms. There's also been a lot of studies on ectomycorrhiza because they can survive actinic environments. Actinic environments means that they're the only microorganism, so they can survive on their own essentially. They can utilize different forms of nitrogen, which is really, really important. So they can, of course, do your simple like ammonia and nitrate, which are the most common that are brought up into plants, but they can also use complex organic nitrogen in the soil, which goes along with that organic carbon. So ectomycorrhiza are really special in the ways that they can actually obtain that from the soil because a lot of different organisms struggle or just are unable to bring in organic nitrogen. And so this picture goes along with the nitrogen, and it's showing how the higher amount of nitrogen that a tree is able to have, the larger it usually is, the more foliage it has. Um, and then the graph also shows through the soil depth and how that coordinates with nitrogen saturated and nitrogen limited as well, along with the mycorrhiza. So, in conclusion, although plants can obtain their nutrients on their own, mycorrhiza are necessary for the growth and evolution of plants. And this is because, like we talked about, greater exchange of gas, increased intake of nutrients, protection from pathogens, and their ability to survive harsh conditions. This is a means to promote the health of soil and combat effects of climate change. This is huge, and this is why it's really important to society because we are entering a time where our world is heating up and normal plants without mycorrhiza cannot survive that heat. So it's so important that we have means and abilities for these plants to survive. So that is all I have for you all today. Here are my sources cited, and I hope you all have a great day.